Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is Roden, and in today's video we are going to be going over the top 15 cars that I personally would want to buy for less than $5,000. Obviously I do a lot of cheap cars videos. I always talk about cars that I think are good options, but that doesn't always necessarily mean that I personally want them. As a matter of fact, I think one of the best cars, not one of, the single-handedly, hands down best car that you can buy in 2025 for less than $5,000 is the third generation Acura TL. I think that is the perfect car for a car guy, at least, for less than $5 grand. But it's not on today's video, because I personally don't really want one. So today we're going to be going over the top 15 cars that I do want, and that I want to have for less than $5,000. Little disclaimer, just know that the Acura Integra would be here, but I have one, so I wouldn't buy another one, obviously. So yeah, I think the Acura Integra is a great car, but I own one, so I would buy it again for under 5K if that means anything, but it's not on this thing. Also, we're ranking them based on how much I want them. So number 15 is going to be the one I want the least out of all these cars, and number 1 is going to be the one I want the most out of all these cars. We're not ranking them in the order of like which ones I think are the best, if that makes any sense. I hope I'm not rambling and saying stupid things. But anyways, movie of the day is called 12 Angry Men. I've never watched the original. I only watched the remaster, but oh my god, it is easily one of my top 3 favorite movies of all time. I love it. I've watched it like 3 times now, and I think it's absolutely incredible. One of my personal favorites. It sounds boring because it's literally just a bunch of dudes sitting in a room, but it is not boring. It is so cool. I love that movie so friggin' much. Go give it a watch. But without further ado, let's go right into it though, with number 15 of the top 15 cars that Roden wants to buy for less than $5,000. And coming in at the number 15 spot is going to be going to the BMW 328i E92, specifically the E92, and specifically the rear-wheel drive 328i E92 is the one that I would personally want, because I like rear-wheel drive over all-wheel drive, but all-wheel drive is available if you are interested in that. Either way, the car comes with a 3-liter inline 6, making 244 horsepower. Like I said, it's rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. Dude, I know everybody else hates on the 328i's because the 335i is just so much better, especially in making power, but this is such a good, like, the N52 isn't horrible. It's just one of those cases where it's like the Mark III Supra, for example, where it's like there's just one that's so much better that nobody really remembers this one, you know what I mean? But the 328i E92s are not bad cars. It's just that the 335i's are better, and I would definitely buy one. Now, to be honest though, it's definitely one of the most boring car on this list, which is the reason why I put it at number 15, but I do like them a lot. Coming in at 14th place, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. I would want the Mazda Miata NB over the Mazda Miata NA. I think this is kind of obvious at this point because I mention it in like every video of mine whenever I talk about Miatas. But yeah, I like the NB Miatas better than I like the NAs. I don't know why. It's just something my brain's wired incorrectly, I guess. But I like them better. I think they're cooler. The cars come with a 1.8 liter inline 4, making 135 horsepower, and it is rear-wheel drive. They are a little bit heavier than the NAs, but when I say a little bit, I mean by like literally, I think 100 pounds difference, which, dude, I'm a light guy. You guys know that. I'm a skinny boy, all right? So honestly, compared to like what other people are driving the NA Miatas, I probably make up for the weight loss there, and so I'm good. It's gonna feel just like an NA Miata for me, and I like the cars. I think they look better, and they are just overall better. They have much more quality of life features to them because they are newer, obviously. That's just my personal opinion. Forgot to mention it, but the reason why I would want an NB Miata is the same reason why everybody wants a Miata, by the way, because they're go-karts that are legal for the streets, obviously. Coming in at the number 13 spot is going to be going to the Chevy Silverado 1500 first generation. Yes, that's right, your boy Roden, who loves the JDM cars and loves the BMWs, also does dabble in some trucks here and there. Sometimes I look at some trucks on Facebook Marketplace and I really want to buy one, and this is the one that I want to buy the most. The truck comes with a 5.3 liter V8 making 285 horsepower, and it is a 4x4. This is a gas job. It is not a diesel truck, for those who don't know, but that is perfectly fine by me. I think diesel is obviously really beneficial for people that are going to use it, but I'm not going to use it, dude. The only reason why I would want a truck is so I could tow my tires around if I had a rear-wheel drive car, tow my parts around, tow my extra stuff around in it and stuff like that, and I could do a gas job truck with that just fine. And the first gen pre-facelifts, by the way, not the cat eyes, the first gen Silverados are like the perfect truck in my opinion. They hold a lot of nostalgia value too, because my dad had these trucks growing up my entire life. I love them. I love the GMT 800s so much. Coming in at the number 12 spot, however, is a car that it's honestly only here because I think it looks good, but everything else about the car I kind of don't like, which is the reason why it's all the way at number 12. The Mitsubishi Eclipse GT 2G. Yeah, man, I just think they look so freaking cool. They are just one of the best looking JDM cars of the 90s in my opinion, but oh man, the rest of it is just unfortunate. The car comes with a 2 liter inline 4, making 140 horsepower, and it is front wheel drive. Front wheel drive is definitely not the best. I like rear wheel drive a whole lot better, obviously. And the motor is just not that great for building power. The GSX and GSTs, those are good, but the regular GTs are just not, which is a little unfortunate, but I still would want one. I still think they look really, really cool, and I'd like to see what I could do in terms of making them look even cooler. I love these cars. I think they're extremely slept on in terms of their looks. Coming in at the number 11 spot is another front-wheel drive car, actually. There's not a lot on my list, obviously, because like I said, I don't really care too much for front-wheel drive cars, but there are a couple. So cut me some slack. Coming in at the number 11 spot is the Volkswagen GTI Mark III. As a matter of fact, I think of all the front-wheel drive cars under 5K, I have the coolest one, the Integra. Just saying, man, those cars are really fun. But the Mark III GTIs come with a 2-liter turbocharged inline-4, making 148 horsepower, and they are front-wheel drive. Obviously, this is not a VR6 Mark III, because you're not going to find a VR6 Mark III for less than $5,000. And if that's the case, I don't really think they're as cool as people think they are. Like, obviously, yeah, the VR6s are sick, but the 2.0s, I don't think are like worthy of being like in my top 10, but it is right here around the number 11 spot. They're lightweight cars, short wheelbase. They're probably fun as hell to drive, and I think they look the best of any any GTI generation. See, so don't worry, partner. We still got a couple front wheel drive. I said I'm not the biggest fan of them, but it doesn't mean I hate them. Coming in at the number 10 spot is another front wheel drive car. It's the Honda Civic EG. As a matter of fact, the next deep dive, or what makes it great, wherever you want to call it, is actually going to be on the EG Civic. So I actually wrote out the whole script already, and God, I want one even more now. Whenever I do that, whenever I do like a good, bad, and ugly, or a deep dive on a car, it makes me want that car so much, because I like look it up and yeah. Anyways, the Honda Civic EG comes with a 1.5 liter inline-4, making 102 horsepower, and it is front-wheel drive, and that's a D series motor too. So they're not the best for building power. Now they're not bad, but compared to like the B series or the K series, they're definitely not better than those. However, keep in mind it is a Honda B series or a Honda K series. They cost like $2 in a reach around, so it's not the end of the world. You can just swap it with one of those motors and have an absolute blast. These cars are just so freaking light. They weigh only, I think, 50 pounds or so more than an NA Miata, and they have much more like interior stuff in it too, so you can do much more weight reduction to an EG Civic than you can to a Miata. So most likely you can get an EG Civic to be lighter than an NA Miata, and they are just absolute track demons. Now, since they are front wheel drive, again, I don't want to put them any higher, but ever since I bought my Integra, I've always been kind of a Honda boy, and like I said, ever since I bought my Integra, it kind of only just cemented that more. I understand the hype behind Hondas. It's just I wish they were rear wheel drive. Coming in at 9th place is admittedly definitely not better than a lot of the cars we talked about so far, especially when it comes to building power and reliability. But in terms of having much more fun and in terms of looks, I just love these things. 9th place is the Hyundai Genesis Coupe BK1, because you're only finding a BK1 under 5K. Although I say that, but there are definitely some times where you can find BK2 Jennies for less than 5K too. It's just you gotta be really patient. But either way, the BK1s come with a 2-liter turbocharged inline-4, making 210 horsepower, and it is rear-wheel drive. That's not a lot, especially for a modern car, and these cars do weigh quite a bit, and before you are like, well, what about building power? No, they don't really build power too well either. They're kind of just stuck around the 300 horsepower range, even after you put a bunch of mods into it. But they're rear-wheel drive, and I think they look absolutely incredible. That's the main takeaways. I think they look great. I love the looks of the Genesis Coupes, and since they are rear-wheel drive, I know I would personally have a ton of fun with them. I like them, and they're a modern car. That's less than $5,000. Like, there's not a lot of those out there that are like actually fun. Coming in at the number 8 spot, yeah, you know it. It's the BMW 328i E36. I've said it time and time again that I think the E36 is a little overrated, and I stand on that hill. I will stand on that hill and pick my nose on it all day long, but at the same time, I still think they're incredible. I just think they're overrated a little bit. The cars come with a 2.8 liter inline-6, making 190 horsepower, and they are rear-wheel drive. Just an absolute fun package. It really is. They're lightweight cars, rear-wheel drive, decently reliable, especially if you're like a mechanic and know what you're doing and keep up to date with the maintenance on them. They'll be even more reliable. And they just they have that look to them, man, where it's like at first glance, you never really love the looks of an E36, but at the same time, you're always kind of just like, oh man, it looks fun. Like, it just looks like a car that you want to own. It's just like so simple, but works so well. However, coming in at the number 7 spot, I do think in 2025 is just a better option, man. I really do, and I know it might be a hot take to say that, but I like them a little bit better. The BMW 330ci E46. I put them right next to each other because I really, honestly, I want them both pretty much around the same. Like, I like the E46s a little bit better than the E36s, but at the same time, I understand where the hype behind the E36 comes from. So I'll put this one just one spot higher. The car comes with a 3-liter inline-6, making 225 horsepower, and it is rear-wheel drive. Obviously, that's more horsepower out of the gate than the E36, and this car can handle more power when it comes to modifying it as well. But however, the E46 does seem to have a little bit more problems than an E36 does. Like, there just seems to be more things that go wrong with E46s. However, I also think the E46 looks better than the E36, so it's just a big toss-up between these two. But pretty much everything I said about the E36 applies to this one. My friend Ben just got an E46. Ben, if you're watching this, you lucky dog, and he got it for $1,500, dude, and it's rear-wheel drive, manual transmission, pre-facelift, sunroof. That car, oh, I want one so bad. For $1,500, Ben, find me one. Now, I don't know if Ben got a 330 Ci, but I know it's a coupe. And so maybe it's a 328 Ci, maybe it's a 325 Ci, I don't know. But either way, I like that car. Coming into the number 6 spot is the last front-wheel drive car. The front-wheel drive car that I want the most out of any front-wheel drive car in the world. That's less than $5,000 right now. And it's the next generation of my car, the Acura RSX. I just love the Integras, man. I really do. I think they're just like one of the... honestly, I really do genuinely. Besides, like, probably the Civic, just because the Civic has so much more of a history to it. I think it's probably the best front-wheel drive like line of cars ever made. The Acura RSX, for those who don't know, comes with a 2-liter inline-4, making 160 horsepower, and it is front-wheel drive. That is a K-series, though, so keep that in mind. You're going to have a whole lot more power adage afterwards. However, the downside to the RSX is it is pretty heavy for an Integra. Like, it got heavier, but I also think they look better than my like Integra. I think the RSX or the DC5 Integras, whatever you want to call them, look better than the DC4s. But either way, I love them. I love all Integras, and if I didn't have an Integra, the Integra would probably be here instead of the RSX. Coming in at the number 5 spot, however, is literally only here because I like the looks of it. That's it. But it's let me explain something to you. Like, yeah, I said the Mitsubishi Eclipse, I was only here because of the looks, and I love the looks on that car, don't get me wrong, but this car's looks are like almost perfect, and so that's the reason why it's so high. The Mitsubishi 3000 GT. I understand that the motor is pretty butthole. The car comes with a 3-liter V6, making 170 horsepower, and it is front-wheel drive. I guess I lied about the RSX being the best front-wheel drive car because I put the Mitsubishi 3000 GT here, so sorry, I forgot about that. But either way, 170 horsepower, the front-wheel drive car with a V6 from Mitsubishi. Yeah, it's not reliable. It's not going to handle a lot of power, and it's pretty heavy actually too for a sports car. So it's not going to be the most fun car out there in terms of actually driving it and owning it. But the looks alone, these cars look like a freaking Japanese supercar. It is absolutely incredible that you can find these for less than $5,000 in my opinion. These cars look insane. One of the best looking JDM cars of the 90s in my opinion, hands down, and I love them just for that alone. 4th place is also kind of here because the looks kind of carry it, but at the same time, this one is definitely better than the 3000 GT in terms of its platform. The Nissan 300ZX Z32. For those who don't know, I used to have a 350Z. I've always been a Z boy. I love the Zs. If the 350Z was still like a reliable or decent option for less than $5,000, it would definitely be on this list. But I just think it's very, very unrealistic to say a 350Z is under $5,000 nowadays. But that's okay because a 300ZX Z32 somehow still is. These cars come with a 3-liter V6, making 222 horsepower, and it is rear-wheel drive. Now, I'll be the first to admit it's going to take a little bit of time and a little bit of patience to actually find one for less than $5,000 that's actually worth the money, but it absolutely can be done. I found one with 65,000 miles. It was yellow too. It just had paint fade because it was sitting in some guy's yard for like 5 years, and so it was like it's going to have obviously a little bit of dry rot problems and stuff like that. But 65,000 miles, and it was $4,500. Like, you could definitely find it. It just takes a little time. And once you do, you have, in my opinion, the best looking Z car of all time. I love the Z32 300ZXs. Now, to be fair, working on them is a nightmare, I've heard. The motors don't handle a lot of power, and they're unreliable. So keep that in mind. But in terms of looks alone, and the fact that they're rear-wheel drive, and they are a Z car with a freaking target top, yeah, this thing's just going to be an absolute blast. Coming in at 3rd place, however, is a car that actually doesn't take that much time to find under $5,000. Like, I always see people commenting on my videos like, you're not finding an SC400 under $5,000, which, by the way, is the car, obviously, the Lexus SC400. But they'll be like, oh, you're not finding an SC400 under $5,000 anymore, dude. And then I log on Facebook Marketplace, and they're just, like, all over the place for $5,000. I don't know where that idea comes from. I see them all the time for $5,000. Either way, yeah, the Lexus SC400 comes with a 4-liter V8, making 270 horsepower, and it is rear-wheel drive. That motor is the 1UZ, for those who don't know, an extremely reliable motor from Toyota with 270 horsepower in a rear-wheel drive car. Now, they are heavy for a JDM 90s car, to be fair, and it's not like a good motor for building power on or anything like that, and they are only available as automatic transmission, so you're going to have to swap them to a manual if you want that manual, which I would want the manual, obviously. But once you do, dude, I just freaking love the SC400s. I mean, they're just such good packages, it's unbelievable. And then the SC300 gets more praise, and I kind of understand it because it came with the manual, and it's a 2JZ, but I like the freaking 400s better, man. Call me crazy. All right, this is probably going to be the biggest shock of this entire list because I never really get to talk about these vehicles because they're not that cool. Even I understand that they're not that cool, but I still want one so bad. Second place is a Toyota 4Runner 3rd generation. I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm just getting older. Maybe I'm starting to get to that point where I just want a nice, reliable car that can do everything. But I love the 3rd gen 4Runners so freaking much. They come with a 3.4 liter V6, making 185 horsepower, and they are 4x4. Obviously, it's a Toyota from the 90s. It's going to be reliable as hell. It's obvious. The main problem with these cars is actually finding one for less than 5K that's not rotted out with 250,000 miles on it. That's the main problem with them. But once you do, dude, you have a freaking 4x4 vehicle that, in my opinion, looks good for a freaking SUV and can look even better if you modify it. That's extremely reliable, tons of space, can go wherever you want it to go. And I know there are other SUVs that do that for under 5K too, don't get me wrong, but there's just something special about 4Runners. Like, I just love them. I just love how they look. I love how they're reliable. I love their interiors. I love everything about them. And I just love the fact that they have a freaking Toyota badge on it. Gosh darn it. Like, yeah, buying it for the hype, I don't care. I like the Toyota badge. As a matter of fact, I like the Toyota badge so much that for the honorable mention for today, we're going with the Toyota Tacoma 1st generation. That's right. That's right. Now, I'm one of those guys where it's like, if I were to buy a cheap truck, I would buy a full-size truck. I wouldn't buy a Tacoma. I wouldn't buy a Ford Ranger. I wouldn't buy a hard body. I wouldn't buy a Chevy S10. I would buy something like a Silverado. And that's most likely what I would buy. But at the same time, I can't lie. I totally get the hype behind the Toyota Tacomas. They come with a 3.4 liter V6, making 190 horsepower, and it is 4x4, 5 more horsepower than the 4Runner, even though I'm pretty sure they're the same motor. But they are a truck, and they don't have as much space in the cabin, obviously, as the 4Runner. But it does have the upside of having more space in a bed. It's really just a whatever one that you're looking for situation, but I think I personally would be looking for a 4Runner over the Tacoma, so I put that one on the actual list, but the Tacoma is a really good option too. However, coming in at first place, yeah, I said that the 350Z wasn't going to be on this list because you can't find them under 5K, but gosh darn it, that does not mean that the VQ35 was not going to be on this list, because of all the cars in the world for less than $5,000 right now, the one I want the most is the Infiniti G35 Coupe. Yeah, call me a takeover kid, call me whatever you want, dude. I miss my 350Z so freaking much, man. I just loved it. I loved everything about it, and I still to this day think they're just an incredible deal for what you get. They come with a 3.5 liter V6, making 306 horsepower, and it is rear-wheel drive. That's a freaking 300 horsepower rear-wheel drive car for less than $5,000. Now, given they are heavy cars, they actually almost weigh 4,000 pounds. They're very heavy cars. But they're reliable too. Like, the VQs are reliable motors. They're not reliable when it comes to building power. I want to put that out there. Even the HRs suffer a little bit on the 35s. But they are reliable stock. And then they have a CD009 with a limited slip differential from factory. They look good, have tons of aftermarket support. Everything for the car is dirt cheap because there was VQ35s thrown in every single car in the world. Like, I just love it. I love these cars so much, and I understand, yes, the community behind them kind of ruins their reputation, and I get that, man. I don't like what they're doing with the cars either, but I love them, and I think if you try to look at it unbiasedly and just take the community aspect out of it and just look at the car itself, just the car, I think if you look at it unbiasedly, you would agree that it is one of the best cars for less than $5,000 right now. But ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of today's video of the top 15 cars that your boy Mark Roden would buy for less than $5,000. Hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more content just like these. Let me know what other videos you'd like to see in the comment section down below. Check the links in the description for any of my other social medias or any of my other YouTube channels or any of that great stuff. And oh yeah, my yapping channel. For those who don't know, I started a yapping channel where I'm literally just going to use it to, you guys know, man, I like to yap. So I made a channel where I'm just going to use it to just talk about whatever it is I want to talk about that day. Who knows what it will be. And that channel, like I said, will be in the comment section down below if you guys are interested. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. Love each and every single one of you, man. The support recently has been like slowly going down, and people have noticed that the views are going down. That's not because of you guys, don't worry. Like, you guys are loving me, and if anything, it's my fault because I'm being lazy lately. But it's also, for those who don't know, a problem with YouTube. Right now, YouTube, I think, made this weird ban wave or something where a bunch of bots got banned, and when that happened, it affected pretty much everybody's channel, and everybody's channels got like less views than they do usually. Well, for me, that kind of sucked because I was already not getting the most views out there, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I live off YouTube, but I'm not like I'm making 6 figures off of it. I'm just making an average salary off of it. So, you know, it kind of sucked a little bit there. But yeah, I still love you guys. I still appreciate you guys, all the real people out there. It's just, I guess I had a lot of bots on my channel. I don't know. I think what actually happened was a lot, like, yeah, there were some bots on my channel because there were some bots on everybody's channel. But when YouTube took them away, they started seeing the views drop and thinking that people weren't as interested in the channels anymore because the views were going lower, not realizing that the reason why the views were going lower is because they took the bots away that were kind of like artificially bumping up people's views or whatever. And so they stopped pushing it out to the algorithm more, if that makes sense. I don't know much about like algorithms and how they work. Even though I've been doing YouTube for 5 years, I still am so confused on how the YouTube algorithm works, man. It blows me away. I'll have like the most random videos go viral, like the most random videos, and then like the ones that I'm like, oh yeah, this one's gonna do good. There's like 10 people watch it, like, and one of them is my mom. Like, I don't know, it's weird, but either way, yeah, something's going on with YouTube and their bot, which I think is a good thing. Don't get me wrong. I do think at the end of the day, them banning bot accounts is obviously a good thing, dude. I hate the comments I get sometimes, people just being like, oh my god, here's a picture of my raw butthole with bacon grease all over it on my comments. I'm not a big fan of seeing those comments myself, but it does suck a little bit right now. We'll bounce back though. We'll bounce back. It always happens. YouTube's got to do their thing. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. Das Vidania, and have a nice night.